What's going on YouTube? Clayky's back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner review, and this time we're covering Final Fantasy 12. We have a new global exclusive unit on the banner to discuss, along with 3 other units. We got a lot of stuff ahead of us, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. First up on the banner, we'll talk about the 3-star base, and that's Vaan. He's been with us for a while. We're only going to cover his 6-star upgrades that he gets when he goes to 6-star. We just got a 6-star upgrade this week. But I'll tell a little bit about him there at the end if there's anything else that's good about him with his 5-star. So, look at the Trust Mastery. It's Maximilian, defense plus 62. Now, this is a great tank Trust Mastery for a tank who needs a lot of defense, who wants to stop those physical attacks from hurting so much. The only problem with Maximilian, again, is there's no Spirit, there's no HP, there's no elemental resist. You're really relying on that defense to carry you. Now, did I farm one up? Yes. Would I recommend it? I'd say about middle tier, if you guys would like to get one. There are a lot of very much more important TMs to get out there. But, it's definitely one you can get. It's not that bad. So, Limit Burst is Pyroclasm, AoE physical damage 2.7 times, nothing great there. Moving on to support abilities, Accelerate, negate 3 physical damage taken to yourself for 2 turns. So, if he's ever going to take physical damage and he has this on, he'll negate it 3 times within those 2 turns. Nothing too special about that. He does have this, and it's very special, Resist Stop. 100% stop resist, buff to all for 3 turns, and it's like one of the only ways to deal with stop we have right now in our game. So this is very special to Vaan, something he could definitely use to get on your team when you may need a stop resist for maybe a fight or something like that. So that's pretty good. Passive abilities that Vaan get at 6-star, Counter Break. He has a 20% chance to counter magic with an attack magic spirit defense debuff for 40% for 3 turns. So 20% time, 20% chance that when he takes magic damage, he's doing a full break to the opponent for 40% of that. He's breaking all the stats for 3 turns. So that's pretty decent, but the 20% chance, that's super low, and it has to be magic too. I mean, I don't know. And then we have Sprint. He has a 50% chance to evade physical, so that just gives him a little bit more survivability. Not the best, not the worst. Moving on to the 2 attack abilities he does get at 6-star, we have Biohazard, AoE 2.1 times physical damage, and then he's also going to put an AoE disease debuff on everybody. That's 100% that's going to go on people. And disease, I think, lowers everybody's stats by 10%, like attack, spirit, defense. I think it lowers all that by 10%. And then he gets Assault Strike, which is his big move. 2.7 times physical damage to 1, and it hits 8 times. So this can chain. He can chain very well with himself. But the problem we're seeing here is that Vaan is just, he doesn't have the damage to be able to keep up with most of the chainers out there. Pretty much if you want to use Vaan, he's going to be there as like a budget chainer. He's not even the best budget chainer out there to make sure your finisher so you can beef up and hit hard because the multiplier goes up and then you hit harder as you go. So overall, we're going to be giving Vaan a 6 out of 10 on global. Very mediocre 6-star upgrade. Not that great. They didn't do anything really to him to make him amazing, which is kind of weird. Why did you even upgrade him if it's just going to be this bad? And then he got an 88 out of 100 on JP. He does have full break from his 5-star kit, which is something you guys may find useful, but that's just getting too weak and being overshadowed by all the other really great breaks we're getting. Now we have a 4-star base going to 6-star tank unit in Rasler. From what I've been hearing about Final Fantasy 12, the guy isn't even in it that long, if at all, so I'm wondering why we got Rasler. A lot of people are too. I don't know, but he seems like a cool tank, so we'll go over him. Trust Mastery, Patriotic Recall, HP 30%, Defense 20%, and then you have Light Resist plus 30%. Guys, this is an excellent TM, an excellent Trust Mastery material you guys can throw in your tank units, or even just any unit that needs the HP defense and light resist, guys. HP 30% is the highest we have right now in the materia slot, which is really amazing. It definitely helps with survivability, and to add 20% defense and 30% light resist, that just makes the icing on the cake. I'm going to have to farm these, even though I've already farmed Hill Digger, just HP 30% from Amarant, and then I farmed Love. Now I gotta farm more, so here we go, more TM farm, baby. Limit Burst is Pride of Nabradia. AoE 50% defense and spirit buff for 5 turns. So this is going to be I like useful limit bursts like this as opposed to just the damaging ones, because the damaging ones normally you don't end up using unless there's something amazing. So getting your defense and spirit buff by 50%, that's not a mediocre buff, and as you level it up, it gets better. So that's an okay limit burst by me. Let's go over his support abilities, as he is a tank and he's kind of a paladin, like I said, so he's bringing a lot of support to him. He has Kuraja, that's an AoE heal. We all know what Kuraja can do. He has Asunga, which is just going to be an AoE Asuna to everybody, curing those status elements you see on your screen. And then he has an all resist light. So he's like, everybody resist light. They're like, okay. And then everybody resists light by 50% for 3 turns. That could be useful in maybe an upcoming trial. It would have been damn useful against Maxwell, but sadly didn't line up. So there you go. Support abilities continuing. We have Royal Obligation. He has a 20% chance to AoE protect allies with 30% damage mitigation for 1 turn when you cast this. So that means if they get hit by magic, they get hit by physical, he has a 20% chance to cover them, and then that's with 30% damage mitigation to that physical or magic attack there. So that's pretty good. The 20% chance is just way too low for me. And that's real low, dude. That is like the lowest, but the damage mitigation is good, I guess. So that's something to look forward to. Moving on to the passive abilities. What makes Rasler tanky? Is there anything out there that helps him? He has Sentinel. He has a 30% chance to cover 1 ally from physical damage, so it's 30% chance, but it has to be physical. Then he has 50 damage mitigation with that. So, you know, he does have a way to stop taking all that damage with the damage mitigation, but he only has the 30% chance to physical, and then he has, when you cast Royal Obligation, that's 20% chance for physical and magic, not the highest. He has Heir to the Throne, 50% light resist buff, so he's not taking a lot of light damage, and he can't be blind. He can't be blind at all. It's 100% resist on that. He has Vanguard Slasher, which sounds like an ability where he's killing people, but it's not. It's a passive. 50% defense buff when equipped with heavy armor. So you throw the heavy armor on, which is already giving you a lot of defensive spirit, hopefully, and then you go ahead and you get 50% more defense on him. So he gets a little bit more tanky from that. His attack abilities are lackluster and leave you wanting. Blade Blitz, you know, I'm just going to throw that in there. That's AoE. Everybody, you know, even Orlando needs Blade Blitz every now and then. It's AoE physical damage just in case you need to clear some mobs out. And then he does have Patriotic Slash. That's 3 times single target, light physical damage, and it hits 7 times. So guys, overall, I'm giving Rasler, I have a 7 out of 10 here. It could be 6.5 to 7 out of 10. He's close to being a tank that you may want. He got a 91 out of 100 on JP, but with that Patriotic Slash we were just talking about, he can actually be a chainer for you when you need him. But as we're moving on to the game, guys, we're getting a lot of chainers, a lot of budget chainers you guys can use. So if you don't have a tank, he can fill that spot, I guess. He's nowhere near as good as Cecil Wilhelm, White Knight Noel, Warrior of Light. He's not even close to being on their level as being able to protect your team and be the tank you want to be, but he does have some upside. Next up on the banner is a unit that I'm actually excited about. I honestly think this is the unit worth pulling on this banner. We have Ashe, and Ashe is a magic damage dealing unit. And she packs quite a punch. Trust Mastery is Ashe's ring. Defense +3, which I don't even know why they keep adding that in front of things. It's like Ring of Lucy, all these things is like, hey guys, on top of all these great effects, how do you like defense +3? That's what I'm talking about. High five, buddy. Yeah. No, I don't get it. Anyway, magic +30%, and MP +15%, and light resist +50%. So not only is this good on your mages, it'll be good on other people who may need the MP along with that light resist. Very good TM. I'm going to farm up a few myself to throw on my mages, possibly on Ashe if I'd like. Then we have the Limit Burst, Maelstром's Bolts. AoE 2.7 times lightning magic damage with 50% ignore spirit. So it's going to be a really hard-hitting AoE, you know, limit burst. You may need that. There are trials out there that may have a lot of, things that are weak to magic and that need to be taken down. A lot of, may have a lot of trash mobs around it. The Blood Moon trial, I think is what it's called. So that might be useful there. Let's look at the support abilities for Ashe. She has Meditate. That is a 45% AoE spirit defense buff for 5 turns. So she's going to buff up your spirit and defense if you need that. And then we have Liberating Flash, which is an AoE 1 point times physical damage. So she's going to do that physical damage when she's doing this move. But she's also going to debuff the opponents by 40% for 3 turns. Now that's AoE, so that's everybody's getting hit by that. And it's 40% defense spirit buff. More than a full break there. So if you need to bust down the, the defenses of the opponent, you can do that with Liberating Flash. Then we have North Swain's Glow. That's going to be another AoE, 2.3 times of magic damage this time, though, attack. And it cures all status elements on your team. So I put these in the support section, even though they are kind of physical attacks and magic attacks. But they do have that supporting part to them. I can't really decide where I want to end up putting these guys, but it's pretty cool that she can also break along with curing, mass AoE Asuna. We're getting that more often, and if you do need to buff up your spirit and defense, she's got you covered. Moving on to passive abilities, she only has one. That is Power Seeker. 50% attack and magic buff when equipped with a sword. So I'm thinking, what are you guys thinking? You thinking some letters to arms? You guys thinking some Fravia's needle? You know, that's what I'm thinking for Ashe. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Along with this power seeker, we're gonna be able to put that magic up really high up there. So that's what I'm thinking if we're gonna be using Ashe. Let's go over the attack ability. She has Sword of Kings, single target, 2.7 times physical, and it hits 7 times. So this is the physical damage ability you're gonna be using if you decide to build her physical. I just personally don't think that's what I'm going to be doing with her, but you know, hits 7 times, dual wield, hits 14 times, chain it up, baby. There you go. That's a way you could be chaining. There's that. And then she has Heaven's Fury, and this is the move I'm most excited about, and the one I think you guys should be using. It's 2.3 times AoE magic damage with 25% ignore spirit. Then she does a 1200 with a 3.5 times multiplier AoE heal. So it's more than Kiraja heal on top of doing all that damage. And that bad boy's gonna hit 10 times. So let's talk about Heaven's Fury for a minute. You're gonna use this move. You're gonna do massive AoE magic damage, which is gonna help you with chaining. It's gonna help you build up the chain. And you're gonna heal your whole team for more than a Kiraja. Yes, please, I want that. On top of the fact, there are some things we got to talk about here. Heaven's Fury is a magic damage dealing ability. Should not be affected by dual wield unless they do some weird stuff in global again. So you're not going to be able to dual wield this and hit twice. So there are some restrictions. Another restriction is, since it is a magic ability, it's going to be elementless. You're not going to be able to put any element on, no matter what's on your sword, what's on your weapon. It's not going to add the element there. You're not going to be able to elemental chain with it. But Heaven's Fury will have its time to shine. Again, Ashe will have her time to shine. I'm telling you guys, there will be a trial you're going to want Ashe for. Just be aware of that. She also has Thundaja. And I don't know if you guys know about Thundaja. 2 times lightning magic damage. And then it's also one of those ones where you can build it up to a max of 5 times. So it's going to give 5 more consecutive uses there with a 1 times multiplier, and increases the damage. She can actually kind of be a finisher in a way. You can just build that up, and then everybody's like, change. She's just like, bam, baby, look at that magic Thundaja. She can end it all. So I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10 on global, and it might be an 8 out of 10. Maybe I'm going a little bit too high on Ashe. But the thing about it is she's going to have her definite uses, and on global, she's going to be rated a little bit higher because our letters and arms stack. On top of that we have Fravia's needle. That's just going to be a little bit more power that she could punch in there and do a little bit more damage. Now, I know 9 out of 10 seems a little weird, but I'm just going to go with it for now. I need to test her. I need to see her, but that's my initial thoughts on her. I really like Ashe. And then she got a 92 out of 100 on JP, but remember, again, there are changes. You know, letters and arms stacks, you know, but that change came to JP eventually. And we have Fravia's needle, which makes it a little bit stronger there. So maybe 8 out of 10, but I'm going with 9 out of 10. So here we go, the moment of truth, our 5-star base global exclusive unit in Zargabaath, the damage dealing support unit we got instead of Balthier. And we'll just go into the review here. Trust Mastery, Judge Helm, defense plus 35, spirit plus 20, all elements except for dark hit plus 15%. This is an amazing tank helm. Again, you guys have heard maybe in my news video, I felt a little weird about it. I still think it's very good. I think it's worth farming up. I think it's worth putting on your tanks just so they can take a little bit less damage. The stats on the defense and spirit are also really high. I just find it a little underwhelming for myself. I think I'm holding the expectations of these tank TMs a little too high possibly, but I just feel like we're lacking in them right now. Maybe JP players know a little bit more about that than I do. So we have Alexander Crest as the limit burst, and it's a damn good one. AoE 3 times magic damage with ignored defense 50%, so that's a damn big multiplier. On top of the fact that it's AoE 30% damage mitigation for your team for 2 turns. Definitely a strong limit burst, definitely worth using. I give that like an A+ in my book. Then we got to go over the support abilities, as that is a support character. We have Berserk Crest. That's going to be an attack 150% buff to an ally for 3 turns. And you might be like, damn, Click, 150%, let's go. It only applies to auto attacks from what I understand. So unless you want to put that on your king or your lightning or somebody you just want to attack a million times with or something like that, doesn't really seem that useful to me. And if you do put it on king, get ready to go mow your lawn, go to the grocery store until he gets done attacking. Then he gets rejuvenate. And it was actually wrong. I was wrong. Even in my video, I put the annotation it might not be MP 100%. It actually turned out to be fully heal HP and recover only 50% of MP to one ally. So not as good as an elixir here. And the full heal, guys, we'll get to the end when I talk about this, but the full heal just of HP really just isn't that good anymore. We have so many ways to get our HP back up to full AoE wise now. We have a lot of different ways to, you know, to buff us up. A lot of healing that's going to get us back up there. The recover 50% MP is pretty sweet. You don't have to kill yourself or get rid of yourself to do that mana battery ability, but overall a little disappointing it's not 100% MP. Then Bastion is another ability. AoE 40% elemental buff for 3 turns. Now, That's pretty sweet to have on a support character. You know, you want to have that support character be well-rounded, be able to do a lot, but that's only 10% more than COD can do, guys. I mean, COD, we have been using COD a lot, but we're talking about a 5-star base here. A little underwhelming there for me. And then we have 2 more abilities that are buffing abilities, okay? We have Hero's Crest, or Hero Quest. Crest. Not Hero Quest. All right, can we talk for a minute? 100% attack, magic, and defense buff to 1 ally for 4 turns. Now, that is a shit ton of stats, guys. 100% buffing everything you have on your dude. The problem I have with this is there is going to be a little bit of a Ramza coming out with his enhancements. He's going to be singing. He's going to be buffing everybody by 100%. And I know you guys might be saying, I mean, you can pick and choose with this who you want to do. And with Ramza, you know, he is singing. He can't do anything for those 3 turns. He's buffing you up. However, Ramza, you know, some of these bards will be coming out, but they're also going to be able to heal during the time they're doing this. I don't know. Hero's Crest, very good. Let's put Hero's Crest very good. And then we have Arcadian Light, which they did do the AoE 60%. They didn't do me with a 40% attack, magic, defense buff. I like that. AoE 100 resist to poison, blind, sleep, and silence for 3 turns. So not only can Zargabaath buff one person by 100% on all those stats, if he does the AoE move, he gives us resist to some of the status elements and 60%, which isn't that much better than some of the other buffs we have, but at least it is better. So I'll give Zargabaath that. We're going to go over the attack abilities before passive abilities, because Zargabaath literally has a warrant. Like, he reads it out as he says, hello, citizens. We'll go over it in a minute. Like, he just goes on and on about his passives. Attack abilities, Righteous Sword. 1.2 times physical damage with ignore defense 40%, and it removes all status elements from 1. So, effects from 1 enemy, sorry. So, it's a dispel. So, it's a finger snap that hits a little bit harder. Then we have Sacred Sword. 1.5 times light physical with ignore 50% defense, 50% light resist debuff for 3 turns to 1. Now, guys, this may seem amazing. This may seem, oh my god, I want to do this. But to my knowledge, you can't keep debuffing the resist of an opponent. It will only be 1 debuff. So if you have an Orlando and you're already chaining there with your Orlando, he does the 50% light debuff, resist debuff. So it doesn't really take precedence here. I feel like this is a move you're not going to be using a lot. You guys can help me out, though, and help me decide if that is a move you're going to be using a lot, but I just don't see it. We have Word of Law, and this is a really good ability for Zargabaath. AoE, 3 times light magic damage. So it already has a 3 times multiplier. On top of that, it has a 50% ignore defense, or excuse me, spirit. It's magic. So that is going to be raising that up quite a bit there, making it hit really hard. And then it's going to give us the 20% damage mitigation for 2 turns. So it's a very hard-hitting ability. It has to be magic, though. So it's magic. It's not physical. It's light magic. And, you know, we get 20% damage mitigation for 2 turns. So that's anytime you want it. You just cast that bad boy. You get that damage mitigation. Here's the problem I have with Word of Law. That damage mitigation should have been higher. Something should have been a little different with that. Because we have Riku, who came out. You guys know about. Support on your team. 30% damage mitigation she has on her. The 20% damage mitigation is like Sakura, and Sakura only goes to 5-star. I as you can see, there's a thing going on here. Very disappointed with Zargabaath and how Zargabaath came out. We have passive abilities, and we're gonna have a lot to go. Again, just a pamphlet. Hear ye, I am the judge. Listen, I have all these passives. Judge, Magister. 30% spirit buff when wearing a helm. And then a 30% defense buff, either if you're wearing light armor or heavy armor, you're going to get that buff. So that's just a way to make sure that Zargabaath is a little bit more on the tanky side, the judge side of being, you know, support. And then we have authority, 30% attack buff with a sword or greatsword. So if you want to go the attack route, you want to use the physical damage abilities we talked about, you can do that. Or what I would suggest is a 30% magic buff with a katana, hammer, or spear. Honestly, I think Word of Law is the big ability you guys should be using for damage if you are going to use Zargabaath for damage. So I'd be going with buff and the magic there. Then we have Flames of Justice. 20% HP and attack buff when you have a light weapon equipped. So as long as there's a light element on the weapon you have equipped, you're getting that. And then you get a 20% MP and magic buff if you have a fire weapon. So if you just have 2 weapons, you got the light element, you got the fire element, the Flames of Justice are upon you, you're going to be popping both those off. And then we have other passive abilities. Again, like I said, it keeps going on and on. Low HP power up. And I don't know if that's the actual name of the ability, but that seems pretty lackluster as compared to Flames of Justice we just talked about. 80% defense magic buff when HP drops below 35%. That's a badass buff. I'm going to be honest, like 80%, and you only got to go down to 35%. Maybe just smack Zargabaath a little bit at the beginning of the game, the beginning of the turns, have everybody target and hit with like finger snap or something, and just get it down. I don't know. I'm being stupid now. Warden. 50% chance to counter physical and magic attacks. That is a high-ass chance to counter, but only with normal attacks. So he's gonna hit and come in and smack him once or something. I don't know. If you have dual wield on, smack him twice. So that's Warden, but that is 50% chance to counter, so that's pretty damn high. Steadfast, 100% resist to blind, paralyzed, confused, and disease. So we have actually 3 of those status elements. Not happening to Zargabaath. Pretty sweet having the kit. Other passive abilities include Medicine Lore, 2 times increase to healing items, so you know that Elixir is healing twice as much and MP is twice as much. We know that's actually a good ability. I think it does apply to MP, so your Mega Ethers, Turbo Ethers, they're going to be healing up that MP a little bit more if you have it with Zargabaath. We have Shield Plus, 20% chance to evade physical and magic damage, so we have a little bit more. You know, you have the tankiness, you can counter, you can evade a little bit with Zargabaath, pretty good. And then Zargabaath also has an ability called Safety. Now, Zargabaath, if it ever is going to, Zargabaath is going to die, and his HP is above 10%, he will not die. He will go to that, I think, 1 HP, and then live. That's similar to, like, Fravia has, but I think Fravia has, like, a percentage chance. But with Zargabaath, I do believe it's a 100% chance. He ain't dying on the first time. That only happens once, guys, so if he goes down again in that time frame, he is going down for good. So, let's talk about Zargabaath as a whole and why I'm so disappointed with Zargabaath. One, Zargabaath is a master... like a jack of all trades, master of none, and it's not in the same sense that Noctis was. Like, Noctis just did a lot more than Zargabaath can bring to your team. Noctis also, besides supporting everybody, if it was time just to lay the hammer down, like, Noctis can lay the damage hammer down. I don't see Zargabaath being able to do that. Word of Law will hit extremely hard, and it seems like it may be able to be possibly a hard-hitting finisher for Orlando, as it is light damage and it's magic damage. You're just, if you get the magic up high enough. Problem is, like I said, Zargabaath's all over the place. Passive abilities everywhere. You got to build him to hopefully get the magic up, which the magic stat's really fucking low anyway. And then we got to think about our teams, guys. We have Riku, we have our healer, we have our tank. Then you have 2 more slots. I mean, I think you guys are running Riku, and this banner is coming out on the Final Fantasy 10 banner still going on. So why the hell would you waste your tickets on Zargabaath, which is a 5-star base, when, Riku's out? Who can do 30% damage mitigation, AoE re-raise. Riku does a lot of shit that just as good as Zargabaath, if not better, on top of the fact that the list keeps going. Like, Ramza is going to do 100% buff to everyone. So is that, do you want Zargabaath on your team? You want Ramza on your team? I mean, you got to think of these things. It is a 5-star unit. Big disappointment for me, but I'm not going to let that affect the ranking too much. I'm giving Zargabaath an 8 out of 10. JP obviously doesn't have a thing. Zargabaath could have been much better, I think, if they decided on what they really, like, they wanted to give him something special. He's not a game changer. There'll be much better units coming out, and he's just not worth going hard for. Alright guys, so that's Final Fantasy 12 banner in a nutshell. Should you guys pull in this banner? I'm going to say yes until you get an Ashe. I may have this massive love for Ashe right now, but Ashe is still, you can look it up anywhere. Do your own research. Ashe is that good. You definitely want one on your party. Plus, you have a lot of good TMs here you guys could pick up. The only thing is, I wouldn't say well out on this banner. You know, do some pulls, do your dailies. Check it out a little bit, you know what I mean? Get your feet wet before you go hard, because Zargabaath really, for me, just isn't worth it. Now, in the future, if we get the global enhancements on Zargabaath, he could be insane. They could literally enhance him to be unreal. But as for right now, just the TM doesn't even entice me enough to pull for him. As for some reason, I'm disappointed with it, which may just me being dumb. And then you have, the other 2, Rasler, and then you have Vaan, which are just other units that are, Rasler has a great TM, but as far as people who already have a tank, he's just not going to be that useful. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel about Zargabaath. I want to hear your guys' opinion on this global exclusive, and then subscribe for future content. We'll catch you guys in the next video.